Try this then. I'm just going to press the recording button. Does that
Okay.
make a difference? No? How would I have stopped it?
I have no idea.
You want to change?
I'm just going to select a different camera, see if that makes a difference.
I don't think it will.
No, it says use integrated camera. Select a camera. No.
Does it make a difference?
Oh, I can suddenly see myself now.
I clicked
using the integrated camera.
Oh, okay, but I can see you.
Can you see me? Meetings? No.
No.
I'll touch up my appearance. That would be good.
What else haven't I done? Join audio, computer auto, invite others. No.
No. Well, my camera's definitely working.
Yeah, so it's not that. Just trying to see what else I can do.
Yeah, it's on recording at the moment.
Yep. Stop video. That's my video. Oh dear, I don't know.
Shall I try leave the meeting and come in again?
Yeah, try that. Oh,
I'm ready.
Okay. Right, I'm going to leave the meeting and come in again.
All right. My friend, I'm doing this webinar through Zoom, and my friend can, the lady who is going to be with me, we can hear her, but I can't see her. I'm not sure what I'm not doing. So she's left the meeting. She's going to come back in again. As we tried it the other day, and it worked fine. These are all the attendants. That's me. And when she comes on there, I promote her to panelist. Charlotte will be rejoining the webinar as a panelist. No, not that. Oops. And there's no video. See that? What's that?
That means that the microphone's muted.
Her microphone.
I think so.
And then when
Right. Now you should be able to hear me.
I can hear you, but see that? See that there? It says that her.
Yeah, so it says that the video's turned off.
Is that me or her?
No. Like, click on more.
Ask to start video?
Yeah, try that.
Okay. Did that do anything? Ask to start video?
It says the host has asked me to start your video, so I will start the video.
Oh, there you go.
Hello.
Ah, thanks, Joe. Yay for, how old are you, Joe? 17-year-old sons.
That's all we need.
Oh, yeah. They're pretty good on the old technology, aren't they?
They are indeed, yes. Okay.
So, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm all set.
Good. I think I'm all set. We've got 11 people at the moment that have joined us, but of course it's still 9 minutes away, so.
They were all probably watching 7 Sharp with the open learning environments.
Oh, is it on 7 Sharp?
There was just two opposing views.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole thing. One size does not fit all.
No, it doesn't. No, you're right. Yeah, it's quite a debate, that one, isn't it?
Yes, and I think likewise for teachers. Not all teachers can teach in both environments.
It certainly is a long journey to learn how to teach in one. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I've done both.
Yeah.
Not in a huge 2 classes. That worked really well. I really enjoyed that. I don't know that I could have managed a 3rd one.
A 3rd class.
a third teacher to work with.
Ah,
We had 2 teachers and 2 teacher aides.
okay.
Coordinating 4 adults was and the amount of time spent in planning,
Yeah.
you know, that putting a third person in would have to be a particular personality, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to be open and willing to experiment and yeah, just try and do things differently, eh? I think
Yes.
I think with the play it works particularly well because we all plan for our instructional learning, and then we all go in at different times with the play.
Yep.
And then the only other thing we plan for is um, our inquiry.
Okay. So how come inquiry is separate to play?
Well, it's we at our school we're learning to teach transdisciplinary, which means that we start with a value or a concept,
Mm-hmm.
and then we introduce that to the children, and we take the journey with them in an inquiry process. So we're learning to teach all that. So even though we have play, we still have, because we've got year 1 to 3. So some children are ready to go a bit deeper. So that sort of provides for them as well. So we sort of have several streams going along at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. That you say some kids are more ready than others.
We teach
That comes down to child development, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. So we're modelling that inquiry the whole time. So we try and embed it. We try and embed it in the play. So we provide them with like the equipment that they need to experiment and try out and stuff like that. And we try and take note of what they're doing and extend that out. But like we had an opportunity to go to Orana Park.
Yeah.
It was given to us free, so we took that up, and we're sort of having this big learning into animals, and we've been and visited it, and they absolutely loved it. We're giving them opportunity to learn more about animals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not chopping my head off when they. Did you see a good?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Can you see the chat up the side?
I took that off. Let me just put it back on. Oh no, I need to exit the full screen. Get the chat at the side. Yes. Okay. Yes, inquiry should be embedded in play. Certainly, I would agree that it works towards the play. Because inquiry, play, problem solving. How do you differentiate it?
I think it's all part and parcel. I think that's the role of the teacher, is to notice what the children are doing and to pick up on that and to extend it at the right time. So it's being there, it's providing the right information and giving them the right opportunities at the right time as they're asking questions.
Does it not come down to your definition of what is inquiry and what is problem solving and what is play?
Yeah, probably, but I think play incorporates both.
I do. I quite agree. I think play umbrellas them all. I mean, is play a learning style?
No, I think it's more than that, because you can have lots of different learning styles within play. I think it is how children learn.
Yeah.
Especially up until the age of 7 and 8. And then
I disagree. I play as an adult.
Yeah, I know. But what I mean by that is that they're reliant on it more than us. Oops, you're frozen. Come back. Are you still there? Oh, there
Yeah,
you are.
you froze out.
Yeah, me too. You too. Bother.
Don't know why the internet connection should be unstable. I'm on blooming fibre here.
Yeah, me too. Crazy, eh?
Oh, probably a thunderstorm somewhere, or somebody put the kettle on somewhere.
No, we're not starting early, Nicola. We're just having a chat about modern learning environments and play and how we're learning through it. And yeah, I think student agency is a big thing, because if they know that they can learn and we're responsive to them, then it's just so fulfilling to see such excitement in the learning when it's driven by
Yes.
kids.
Yeah,
No,
they've got to realise that learning's what they do, not what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, oh, well, we weren't going to, going to Orana Park was amazing. Something that the kids in Gisborne never got an opportunity to do. So I think it's pretty cool living in a big city and having those kind of opportunities. That's for sure.
Certainly got different opportunities, yes.
Opportunities, yeah.
Right.
Right.
But then that's where they can access the digital world.
Yep. We've gone and QR coded lots of links to animals.
Yeah. You can do an online safari.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of opportunities like that, eh?
Yeah. Most definitely. So just keep an eye on the time. My watch is always 5 minutes fast.
Okay, well, it's nearly time to start. We were just having a general chat, guys, so thank you so much for joining us. We might just give it a couple more minutes. And yep, it's been recorded, so that's good. I hope you can hear us okay. Would the people that would you guys like to introduce yourself on the sidebar? Oh, good, loud and clear. That's great. Hi, Caroline. Maybe introduce yourself and where you're from. Yep, all the chat can be seen by everyone. I think so. Well, I can see it all.
I can see it all.
Can you guys see it all? Oh, now I've got all panelists and attendees. You can see the chat. Oh no, change that, guys. There you go. Better. Is that better? Yep. So everyone can see it now. Oh, you're going to have to change your own.
They've got to do the changing.
Oh, there you go.
Technology, love it.
Yeah, well, this is the first time that I've used Zoom, and just sort of feeling our way, aren't we, Charlotte?
We are indeed.
But it's pretty much the same as some other platforms that I've used. So
yeah, same as the one very similar to the one I used with the NCTM.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, we've got 20 people, 23 joined. Oh, 20, I guess extra. Oh, hi, Charlotte and Sarah. Cheryl from Awapuni. Hi, Cheryl.
She thought it was at 7:30 this morning. She thought she'd missed it.
We're not that crazy. Hi, Nick. Nice to see you. Katrina from Manganui School, far north. Oh, that's great. Kendall from Woodville School, welcome. Can you ask the other attendees to change their setting, please? Okay, so apparently you have to go down to the bottom and click on all panelists and attendees so that you can see, so we can all see each other. And that's in the chat. And also you can ask a Q&A, a question. If you want to ask a question, I've got the question bar open as well. And then the idea is that we can ask Charlotte those as well. Someone from Taranaki. Helene. Hello, Helene. Michelle from Hastings. Kate from the Hawke's Bay. Lovely to see you all. Give people a little bit longer. So yeah, if you want to ask a question, just go down to the Q&A at the bottom of your panel and press on that, or you can ask it in a chat, but the chat disappears, whereas the Q&A will stay there until we answer it. Oh, hi, Jenny from Timaru. Maria from Wellington. Awesome. Lovely to see so many people coming out tonight. Oh, your Q&A's at the top left. Okay. Well, my Q&A floats around, so very cool.
Don't know where mine is.
It'll pop up.
I haven't actually got it switched on.
That's okay.
Yep, I shall close it for the moment. Otherwise it just blocks you out completely.
Yes, it's going to be recorded, and I'll put the link up once we're finished. And I'll just start it from when we actually start. All right, well, I think we're about ready now. So, Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like to, just really thank you so much, especially since you're doing it for nothing. I really appreciate the chance to talk to you for this hour. And looking forward to talking about maths. But first of all, before we start, you shared with me a while ago that you used to do a lot of learning through play yourself and teach using play way back. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how passionate you are about play-based learning and why?
Okay, well, when I actually embarked on teaching back in the early 1980s, I actually trained for 3 to 9-year-olds with it's a Bachelor of Education honours degree, specialising in 3 to 9-year-olds with a particular focus on mathematics. So you were able to specialise, although you taught everything. My first teaching position was French in a high school, but that's beside the point. I've had 20 years in the classroom before I became a consultant and included a period as a deputy. And of those 20 years, 10 years were in new entrant classrooms. Okay. Now, back in the 80s and 90s, it was called constructive play. Okay, not developmental play. It was constructive play. That was the terminology. And that was before education was a political football.
Yeah.
And we could do what we liked pretty much in the classroom.
You mean that they trusted teachers back then?
Yes, it was our job to teach children. And so we were very much based on your major stakeholder being the child, not somebody else. So all the developmental principles of children were all taken into consideration. There was no curriculum. Okay, no curriculum. The teacher was in charge of everything, which is a bit daunting when you just come out of training college.
Yeah.
You actually start by working with the child and what they need. That's where you start, not from anywhere else. However, within today's accountability constraints, child is still the major stakeholder. And I urge teachers to really know their curriculum, because on page 39 is my mantra. Each student's ultimate learning success is more important than the covering of a particular achievement objective.
Yeah, I love that quote. Say it again.
Okay, each student's ultimate learning success is more important than the covering of a particular achievement objective. And that comes in the section on design of a school curriculum. So when you're designing your curriculum, you're thinking of a child's ultimate success.
Yeah.
To start with the child.
Yep. That's awesome. And I just forgot to introduce myself, so I better do that. So my name's Tara O'Neill, and I'm now at Hayata Community Campus in Christchurch. And I moved here for the 4th term of last year from Te Karaka Area School. So for those of you who have joined me for a webinar before, I basically stopped doing them at the end of last year and for most of this year, just because we were starting up a new school, and it's been really, really busy, very challenging. We had 950 children come to the school on the first day, and well, maybe not that many quite on the first day, but in the 800s, now that's how many we have, and that was really unexpected. So it was a huge challenge to pull a team together and to get used to the big modern learning buildings. And yeah, just feel like I've got my head above water now, and I wanted to really keep pursuing different topics in play-based learning for my own professional development, but also just to share it to other people who are interested. So my first person that I chose was Charlotte. So yeah, we're going to be talking about maths in the play-based classroom. So Charlotte, many of us that are on here are new entrant teachers. So where would you advise us to begin with math teaching for 5-year-olds in a play-based classroom?
Well, probably not where you think, because I would say you focus first on mathematical thinking. Okay? When you're thinking about mathematical thinking, you're focusing on 3 critical elements: problem solving, reasoning, and communicating. Okay?
Yeah.
Communicating, well, communicating involves the development of mathematical vocabulary,
Yeah.
which is closely aligned to your literacy. So it's very hard to separate out numeracy and literacy on the communicating angle. Reasoning can include spatial, numeric, and verbal reasoning. Now, where I would go to start with is spatial reasoning. Now, the reason is that everyone uses spatial reasoning just to manipulate themselves around the world they live in. So it's something they bring with them. Okay, it plays a critical role in mathematical experiences, in geometry, measurement, and problem solving. Whether it's a skill, I mean, you will know the children in your class who still try and fit themselves into a space that isn't big enough. Ones who, when you ask them to make a circle, they all shuffle round to one side. So building the idea of spatial about yourself is some of the early spatial reasoning. Spatial reasoning is something you learn. Some people seem to have it more, or have been more developed, but it's not a fixed thing. Some people say, oh, you know, well, they're good because they've got good spatial reasoning. But spatial reasoning is actually developed through experience. Okay, it's not a fixed thing that you're born with. So when we talk about spatial reasoning, if you put your learning through play hat on, it involves moving one's body in space, creating or designing objects. So there's a lot of art and craft in spatial reasoning.
Yeah.
Manipulating objects, comparing objects, locating objects, and one I particularly like for the early years classroom, remembering the location of objects. Where did you put your lunchbox?
Yeah.
Combining shapes to make different shapes, and then taking shapes apart. So all of those sorts of activities are developing spatial reasoning.
Wow, there is so much just in that one thing that's jumping out at me. Like, you know how we talk about how imaging is so important in stage 3? So
Yeah.
would imaging be like remembering where you put your lunchbox?
No, that is part of spatial visualization. Okay, that is just one part of spatial reasoning. Being able to visualize things. And that's what leads us to the abstract, which is required when working with numbers, because numbers are abstract. So that's what imaging is certainly part of spatial reasoning. But before we get to imaging, all of these other things about spatial reasoning we can be working on, and it will all build towards. That's one of the reasons why some children do have difficulty with the spatial visualization. There's more to spatial reasoning than just the visualization.
So lots of moving, like climbing, balancing, going under, going over. So when we're out in the play with the children, putting the words around those things is really important.
That's part of developing the communicating, developing the language.
So the problem solving, the reasoning, and the communicating all work together in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're all part of developing mathematical thinking.
Mm.
So that's, I say, where you start with the thinking.
Right. So what about problem solving? So say if they wanted to build something out of wood, or
Yeah,
they wanted to put a plank between two bits of wood, that's problem solving, isn't it? And including reasoning, like how long a piece of wood would I need to fit the gap?
you can't do problem solving without reasoning.
Mm.
To communicate your reasoning, you need words. Now, some children don't communicate verbally particularly well. But in order to think, you actually need a language. Or should I say, to develop the reasoning skills to be able to think, well, what did I do then? Why did it not work? What do I need to do next? We don't always communicate everything with somebody else, but we communicate with ourselves. And it's through words that we actually make sense of things. Words and actions, I should say. We actually make sense of it.
So
Okay.
I do a lot of, while the children are playing, observing, and
Yes.
coaching. So I tell them what they're doing, basically. Oh, you're climbing on top of the log. You're going underneath the beam. You're running along a piece of wood.
So you're modelling the language.
Yeah.
Modelling. That's part of, you know, when we look at the effective literacy practice, how students learn and what teachers do, one of the first things is that students imitate.
Mm.
So what the teacher has to do is model.
Mm. Yeah.
Then how do you know that they know it? You've actually got to ask the question. What are you doing then?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So you've got to, because we want them to be able to use the vocabulary,
Yeah.
not just understand the vocabulary.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to use it.
Yeah. And I think that happens more and more as they get more confident at knowing what words to use and things like that between each other. And I think that's the beauty of having a play-based environment, is that the talking increases of the children. There's more talking from the children, so they're having more opportunity to be able to talk and use those words.
Yes, it's the one thing whenever I'm doing work with teachers is, I said, the hardest thing that teachers have to learn is to be quiet.
It's really hard, and I tell you what, really hard not to keep asking questions as well.
Keep asking questions or answering. Sorry. Yes.
Because you can
We don't give them.
too many, and without giving them opportunity to answer.
You've got to give them plenty of time to answer, because they've got to find those words. Some children take a long time to find and to formulate their responses. The ones who actually answer quickly are often the ones who aren't thinking very deeply. A reflective learner thinks deeply.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes those children, you can think that they're not actually responding, they're thinking. So you've got to give them the time.
And that's a real challenge in a busy classroom, isn't it? To remember to give them that time.
Yes, and you've got other children who will always try and chip in on top of them. So that's the one. I'm just looking at some of the chat on the side. Yeah. Provide an opportunity to gain language skills, which gets to reasoning. You cannot separate out the development of language from the development of mathematics.
Okay.
You cannot separate it. It's totally reliant on each other.
Right.
We know from the, sorry.
No, go on.
So we know from research done with 11 to 13-year-olds on problem solving, most of them have got the mathematics, but they haven't got the vocabulary to read the problems.
Really?
Yeah, most assistance required is in the literacy of mathematics, not the mathematics.
Wow.
So that's the importance of developing that language.
Wow, that's really quite a surprise.
Well, it was a surprise from the research base. I can't remember who actually did the research, but I've certainly used it in one of my newsletters before.
Yeah. So what we're doing by giving them opportunity to listen to us, coach them and comment on what they're doing is in fact giving them opportunity to learn the language around reasoning and problem solving.
Yes, but you must also make sure that you are modelling correct mathematical language. Okay,
well that's a challenge. What is correct mathematical language in what do you think correct mathematical language? Give us some examples.
When a child will talk about a ball, you will then reiterate that a ball has the name of a sphere. Okay, they start with their language, like a box, but you're going to introduce words like cube and cuboid.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't shelter them from real words.
No,
because they're young.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, I guess, some of us might have forgotten some of those words. Hopefully not.
Yes. Yeah, we can introduce words like parallel, perpendicular, all of those. Whether they use them, some children absorb words, and before the age of 7, the brain learns more words before the age of 7.
Really?
That's when it's up to the age of 7 is when it is the most receptive to language. No pressure.
That's an amazing thing. I'd forgotten about that. Wow. Nick, Dr. Nick here.
Yes.
She's into statistics. She came and
visited. I know Nicola.
Class. Yeah, she came and visited my class, and she said, "I know language is such a challenge in statistics."
It is a challenge. It's a challenge in all areas of mathematics.
So you see older kids as well as younger ones. So you'd support us as play-based learning practitioners in talking more and having more talk in the class about mathematical things.
Definitely. Yes, you must. It's got to talk. Children won't learn. Sorry, children won't learn maths on their own.
No.
They've got to have the teacher talk to make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
Without the words, the maths doesn't happen.
Okay.
So we can't just give them mathematical things to do.
So it needs to be embedded in real life.
Yes.
And that's what we love about play, is because it is children's work. Play is their work. It is how they learn. So it's got to be more than just sitting on a mat counting counters.
Oh, goodness me, that's a minimal part of it.
Yeah.
It's about taking every single opportunity to use mathematical language. Now, as a person who does only maths, it's much easier for me to view a classroom, to view any environment. As my children say, I wear mathematical glasses. I view the world through a mathematical lens. So I see maths everywhere. And I encourage children to see maths everywhere. We've developed a very narrow view of mathematics as being numbers.
You said to me that numbers were the last thing they needed to learn.
Numbers come out of the need to quantify.
Mm.
And that comes after comparing, sorting, matching. But learning to count involves a huge amount of vocabulary. You've got 29 words to learn just to count to 100 in English.
Huh.
You wonder why they get teen confusions?
Yeah, especially the T's and the teens.
Yep. In Maori and any of the Asian languages, there are only 10 words to learn, count to 100.
Mm.
But learning to count requires the combination of principles from beginning supertising through to the development of the well, first of all, the one-to-one principle, which we do through matching, through to the cardinal principle, which is understanding that the end of the count gives you the quantity of how many. Now, if you think that is the count all stage, which is, if we're looking at national standards, they're saying end of 12 months. It actually takes us to the end of 12 months to reach a basic understanding of counting. So just being able to say the words is not counting.
No. No.
To have generalized counting is the algebra at level 1. So it's a long way to learning to count. So yeah, we start with the geometric measurement because we're looking at those play activities that, I'm going on to question 5 here.
The
No,
question is,
Mr.
we all love play, but what types of play help children learn maths?
No, I'm just,
Is that the one?
no, question 6. What are the most important maths concepts?
Okay.
I jumped to that one.
Let's go
Selma.
first.
Okay.
Yep.
Any mathematical situations,
Yeah.
before we get to number, will involve same and different, equal and opposite, and measure comparisons, which we do through matching, sorting, comparing. And it's through these activities that students develop the need to count.
Oh, I see.
Okay, as soon as that collection of objects goes beyond the small group, supertise the quantity. I've had many new entrant students who count one too many or one too heaps.
Yeah.
Learning to count requires the students to learn number names and apply the one-to-one principle as they work their way to that cardinal principle. The last number in the count says how many. And I think that developmentally tends to go alongside that one-to-one finger pointing with reading. There seems to be a lot of correlations in that developmental area.
Yeah.
But you've got to learn the number names as well, in order.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then once they've developed the concept of cardinality, they are then able to make sense of addition and subtraction.
Wow. I think we're trying to jump the gun a lot.
I think we're not very aware of these very early mathematical concepts.
We just kind of want them to count and then to add and subtract. We're not really spending the time, well, at least I'm not, on same and different and equal, opposite, like what you said, and really understanding what those things are. And even like going back to the reasoning and spending the time with the comparing, you know, all that kind of stuff. Wow.
If people have got them, go back to the BSM teacher guides. There was some awesome stuff in those teacher books.
What did you say?
The BSM, Beginning School Mathematics Teacher Guides.
Most people won't even know what they are now, Charlotte.
Well, most schools, I think they might still be available from down behind the chair.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's what I learned to teach with.
Yeah, but we don't need to follow it as a program.
No, but the principle.
Actually, looking into those teacher guides will give you some really good ideas and activities that you can do with them.
Oh, look, Hal said, sure,
Yeah.
a lot were thrown out. Oh, they're at the UC Library. That's cool. Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, Linda Allen has asked a question. How do you bring place value into play? A big jump from after 1 year to after 2 years.
Well, place value, I would say, from when you start school, when you start quantifying, always do everything in groups of 10. So if you're counting how many days at school, use tens frames, so that there becomes that they're used to grouping in tens.
Right.
Just make that the norm that you group in tens.
Yeah.
You learn the skip counting sequence in tens. That's part of developing that vocabulary of the decades. Place value is a huge concept, and one of the biggest problems is that children treat the number 10 as if it was 9. That they just see it as one number, not as a 2-digit number.
Oh.
The other aspect of place value is actually 0. The conceptual understanding of 0, for 0 to be a number, children have to understand 0 as nothing of something, not nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
That was as big in the development of mathematics as the development of the internet in today's world.
Wow.
Revolutionized mathematics. So yes, it is a huge concept. But 0 is something of nothing of something. Place value doesn't exist without that concept. Because 10 is 110 and 0 represents nothing of ones.
And so you'd use that language with children?
Nothing of something, yes. Because to be a number, when we have problems, if I've got 5 lollies and I eat 5 lollies, how many have I got left? The answer is not none. The answer is no lollies. So the 0 has to represent something.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens is they ignore it because it's nothing.
Right. I see.
And that's what they tend to do. It's not there, therefore I can just ignore it. And you see that time and time again when they start working with decades and digit numbers. They ignore 0.
Interesting. Right. Well, are there any other important math concepts that children need to learn first before moving on to numbers? So we've talked about comparing, same, different, equal, opposite, measuring, comparisons.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of that really is embedded in play.
It is all embedded in play. All play activities can help a student learn maths if you've identified the maths in the activity.
And that's why it's important for us teachers to know the curriculum really well, isn't it?
Yes, you need to know the curriculum, but even the curriculum does not give the early concepts of maths. That's where you're going to need to do some more background reading.
Yeah, we are. Right.
Okay,
So we've got BSN to read. What else do you suggest?
I've got a whole series of books teaching mathematics. I've actually put these on the a PowerPoint that I've put together that's on my subscription site. So I've actually listed the books on there.
So in a little bit, we'll go and have a look. You're going to share your screen with us and show us your website. And so you've got a whole list of them there that we can have a look.
I've put a list on there, yes.
So has anyone got any questions at this point? Or examples? I know we've had a lot of success around Play-Doh. A lot of talking about cutting the Play-Doh, sharing it. I find that a really good tool to talk about concepts. Big, small, even, equal. Anyone else up there got any comments on the chat? all very quiet. Plato is wonderful. Yeah,
So it is. Okay. Your maths can be geometric, shape, space, positional. Don't forget your sequencing, your algebra, which is your patterning, your measuring, your comparing, and then eventually you quantify it into numbers.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, that sounds good. Right. Oh, here we go. Water play for me here. Water play's great, isn't it? Because it fills up a container, like you can see it.
Yes. Yep. And one of the activity cards that I've got here, sort of things, problem solving. You see that one?
Oh, cool.
How much water does a sponge hold?
I had a student ask a month ago why sponges have holes.
Yes. And why is that?
Good question. Well, we went and poured water on the sponge and then we poured it on a rock, and he decided that the sponge soaked the water up. So that was a good conversation. But those cards look great, just as even for us teachers, to get us thinking about the types of things we can talk about.
Yeah, and on the back of each of these cards, you've got the concept development, vocabulary to be developed, resources required, and suggested questions to ask.
Are those a card that you've produced?
They are actually the Pearson Mathematics task cards.
Okay.
They're the purple box.
Does anyone out there use these? Okay, we've got a few things here. We've got, do we use the word digit from the start?
Yes, use the word digits. Because we suddenly start talking about double-digit numbers. If we haven't introduced the word digit, what is a double-digit number?
Never thought
So we
about
can
it.
use single-digit, double-digit.
Okay.
We can also talk about your fingers as your digits. That's another word for fingers.
Yeah, true.
And what do we mean by digital? Digital numbers on a calculator. Different style of numbers. So yeah, explore the word digital.
Lynn said also timing for children to do an obstacle course. Timing is good for children comparing higher numbers and who is faster.
Timing is actually quite complicated because who is faster and who comes last first, you're playing with rates, which actually is quite a challenge. So yeah, comparing, you've got equal. If you're faster, then you actually take less time, not more time.
Yes,
So
you're right.
So which is more, the bigger number or the smaller number?
Great conversations to be had.
So yes, you can play the devil's advocate.
You can, exactly, and that's where you get getting your reasoning in it, isn't it?
Yes, you play silly.
Yeah.
And that is a play strategy, because kids will play along with you, and they do like to be the teacher themselves. And they love it if they think they can teach you something. But that's part of them playing.
Okay, so we've got Alana, how would you track children you work with when it's within play? And you're going to answer that in a little bit. But
I am going to answer that, yes. We've got the tracking sheet.
Yeah, before we get there, Nick said, how early do you think children start to decide they do not like maths?
It can be very early, and that can depend on outside influences, particularly if they hear parents, brothers, sisters saying they don't like maths, so they don't like maths. It's also what is their understanding of what maths is. If you take the maths to the child and you come in at too high a level, it's too hard. You have to take the child to the maths.
Right.
Always start with the child. Otherwise, maths anxiety can actually kick in exceedingly early. They get a complete misconception of what maths is. And generally, they have this idea very early on that maths is about speed.
Right. Hmm.
And a lot of that comes down to media, tables tests, basic facts tests. They hear about all of these things, or being told or hearing, oh, you know, maths is hard.
Hmm.
It's not. We're all wired to do math.
Yeah.
And to the point that we actually are more capable of maths than we actually think we are, because we're hardwired for it. So
Yeah. Lynn says we have an interesting common thread in our data, boys versus girls at such an early age. Our boys are more mathematically minded than our girls.
Well, that's an interesting one, because some of the research on spatial visualization, not just that part of spatial reasoning, is that males are generally slightly better than girls. So does that make them more mathematically minded? However, what they've found is that girls, their spatial visualization is directly related to their verbal reasoning. So the conclusion, which requires further research, is that girls actually use different parts of their brain for spatial visualization than boys do.
Wow.
And that actually it's once they've developed the verbal, the language, then they catch up.
Right. So they're not better or worse, it's just a different communicating.
They actually approach spatial visualization through different parts of the brain, apparently.
Wow.
So, you know, it's not that boys are more mathematically minded than the girls. They might be more logical, and boys tend to be, I won't call them tunnel visioned, but they can be more focused and do one step at a time. But when we talk about mathematics, that's about learning to think critically, creatively, strategically, and logically. I mean, I've got two girls. One, I've always said, she thinks like a boy. She's logical. The other one is very creative, but they're both excellent mathematicians. But it's the logical one who's the data analyst.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one more question before we go and have a look at the assessment. Mathematics understanding for the teacher is critical to being able to teach maths confidently. So how do we, or can we, prepare our teachers to teach mathematics with the understanding I can't read the rest of it. It's about teaching our teachers what's a good way of going about that?
Teachers have to be self-teaching.
Yeah.
It's actually up to the teacher where to go for the information. Background reading. I try on my website to put as many what I call snippets of learning, because only adult learners learn as they need to learn. So you will do just-in-time learning, not just-in-case learning. So you can only take in a little bit at a time, put it into practice. And I say to my teachers, play for a while with your new learning.
Yeah.
To assimilate it, to make it yours, then take on another bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No. And you're right, you have to practice it for a certain amount of time. So it might be as simple as putting more mathematical vocabulary into the play as a teacher. And that might be a simple goal like that. And write down the words that we could use, have a brainstorm together, think of the play situations we've got, write down the mathematical terms, and then start to use them in the play while we are watching the kids.
Yes, in your planning, get the language in there.
Yeah. I think that for me, that'd be a great goal, but it could be anything. So it's one thing at a time, and you've got to embed it in, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so shall we go and have a look? You want to share your website with us and show
Yes.
some of the assessment tools that you've got?
Okay. Right. Well, I'm going to try. I'm going to click that share screen to see if it works.
Yeah, click the share screen.
Okay. Right. Can you see?
No, not yet.
Right.
I can see you.
You can see me. Right.
But that
Oh,
is
there
the
it is.
button, that's the right button to press.
Right. Now can you see it?
Yep, you've started to. Yep, there it is.
There it is. Wow. I remembered how to do that one. Okay. So this now is the Wilkie Way website, which has an online store where you can purchase things like the Wilkie Way games, which was the original Wilkie Way stuff, early numeracy games. But we've now developed the members content area, which I will just go into because this is where everything is. And I've actually got one page labeled there called Learning Through Play Level 1 Activities. So you get your own page.
Yay.
Okay. Now on this page, I have been working to put professional learning PowerPoints. Now at the moment, as you can see, that there's an introduction to learning through play, developing the mathematical thinking. The mathematical content knowledge is not up yet because I haven't finished it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. I've then been looking at, this is more teacher stuff here, just short readings.
Oh, wow.
And it's the very early stuff. Okay, and then student resources. Okay, you can go right through, just scrolling down to the beginning addition and subtraction. Now, visual memory sequencing is an area where you have children who actually struggle with that. I worked with the dyslexia lady, and students who were having trouble with the sequencing in the literacy, we found that that's where they're exactly the same issues in the number.
Is that,
The crossover.
is that working memory?
It's the visual sequencing. It is memory, and it's remembering things in order. Okay, and these are shapes or colours or shapes and colours, starting with 3 objects, then 4 objects, then with 5 objects. That we found that they can, if they practice the sequencing, they do get better at it. And I have to say that actually shape and colour 5 objects is actually quite a challenge for me as well. But we don't do it very often. We used to remember telephone numbers and things like that.
Yeah.
But we've got to be able to remember things in a specific order for 3 things I can think of. 1, reading words. 2, mathematics. And 3, it's actually essential for coding in the digital curriculum.
Is it?
Well, that's what coding is about, doing things in a specific order.
Right.
So, that's what we build, those specific orders. Now, on the planning and assessment page, and I've deliberately left the assessment sheet on this page because I felt it belonged here, so that play-based learning is actually part of the building blocks for mathematical success.
Yeah.
It's not something separate. The play-based learning sheet is actually also on the level 1 to 2 sheet, but I felt that if we did a separate one for the play-based learning, now I will open it up. So can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the blocks are slightly bigger, and it does go from participating in the songs and counting songs and knowing some number words. And I've taken it from here right through to recall of doubles and halves and facts to 10. But these are the building blocks. It's not the be all and end all, but they are the essential building blocks so that we can actually track progress in mathematical success. The other 3 sheets, they go right through to level 4. And we can do that on 3 sheets.
Wow.
So when we look at the the early stuff, the whole idea of the wall is that we don't have to complete the baseline of the wall and then go to the next one and then go to the next one. There'll be some children who come in who can read all their numbers to 20, but they can't use their imagination. Okay, so you can have little bits all over the wall, but eventually it's all got to join up. So when you're actually tracking your students, this will give you an overall as to what individual students need to be working on. Okay, so if they've already got numerals to 20, then that doesn't need to be part of their play. That's not learning for them. Okay.
So we know what we're looking out for each student. When
Yes.
we're interacting with them in the play, we can be more specific about what we're looking for.
What you're noticing.
Yeah, and noticing.
Yeah, it's what you're noticing. The danger is teaching to the sheet.
Yeah.
And that will always be the danger. That means assessments, the tail's wagging the dog, and you're ticking boxes. That really, these assessments should come out of the play, not play for assessment.
However, the way we set up an environment and the things that we put in it will support the children to learn more mathematically, and the way that we teach in it too.
Yep.
It's crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. But if we go back to these are all the different learning progressions that we've got there. But if you look at the planning templates, that this one is for a level 1 to 2. That the concepts being developed, I need to develop a planning template that actually covers your play-based learning. So there is more that comes before this.
Yeah.
That I will work on that over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, thank
so
you.
that we can actually have a play-based learning planning template.
Yeah, yeah.
It will,
like what we've talked about, there's a big drop-down menu of things that we need to be noticing and looking at, eh?
yes, but we've got to bring it down to the concepts.
Yeah.
They're not so many.
Okay.
They're not so many.
Well, that's good.
Okay. Now the other place, do people know about the on the NZ Maths, the picture books and the Take This? Do you know about Take This on NZ Maths?
No.
Okay. Under the other resources, Take This. Okay, what they do, you can take something like fresh fruit and vegetables.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and that gives you across the curriculum what you're covering for shape, geometry, measure, and each of them covers all the strands.
Now that's useful.
Oh yes.
Wow.
So it's another way of looking at mathematics, and I think that they do really fit in with the play-based learning idea.
Yeah, they do, because we can take, like, for instance, the vegetables
Yeah.
and make a provocation out of them and pose some questions together. So I was just looking at the statistical ones.
Yeah.
And, it's not like we're going to force them to do it, but if they're interested, we can take them further.
Yeah. But a lot of these are based on the storybook.
Oh, that's good, because I've just been doing rocks in my class. So sort pebbles or pet rocks, we were
Yep.
make a statistical display using the stones, rocks themselves. So we could easily do that. But it's linked to a book.
That's linked to a book. The starter is Henry's Map. You know that one.
Okay. No, I haven't. No.
You know where to find all the picture books?
Where?
Here on other resources, you've got picture books. And if let's say we were looking at geometry level 1, we go into the matrix there, level 1, and it gives you the books. May no longer be available, but the description, and it gives you some activities based on the book.
Wonderful.
Okay, so there's this on the NZ Maths is, well, they don't have a play-based learning area, there are areas that you can use for play-based learning.
Yeah, but it lends itself very well to it, doesn't it?
It does. Just keep away from the numeracy project.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resources.
They used to have a really good whānau section where there was ideas that you could use with families. Is that it there?
That's there, the family section.
I thought that had some really good things in it.
Yeah.
Like math at our house, every day.
Maths at our house, yeah.
Yeah. So getting our families to see maths everywhere, I think that's really, really important.
And that's why you've got to be very careful what you send home. Because if you send worksheets home, they think it's worksheets.
Yeah. Charlotte Petrina would like to know, why do you stay away from the numeracy project?
It starts at counting. And we're saying there's a lot of things to happen before counting. If you think stage 0 just gave us what they can't do. They can't make a set of objects. It didn't actually help us in developing what they should be doing. So once we get to the stage 2, 3, once we've developed that cardinal principle, no problem. But it was not really sufficient at those very early stages.
Yeah, that's what I've always felt as well.
Yeah. It really made us think that we were on, that the focus was actually counting. And we actually developed some very, very proficient counters.
Yeah, exactly. I work with a lot of children that are nowhere near ready to be counting.
They're nowhere near counting, did you say?
No, they need a lot more experience with objects and things. And like you said, all the things that you said about communicating, reasoning and problem solving, they need to experience those in real life. I think that by introducing the numbers too quickly, we put them off. We get that maths anxiety.
Yes, I think we do.
They're not ready. They don't understand the context of the numbers.
It took me 9 months to teach a child to count to 10. But when she did, she counted to 44. So, 9 months with 1, 2 heaps. We did a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Some kids do love numbers. I love numbers. My daughter loved numbers. She counted 10 very early and then suddenly stopped counting number 8.
Oh, why is that?
Why is that? That's what I wanted to know. I said, Emily, what's happened to number 8? And she took me by the hand and took me outside and showed it to me on the front door.
Oh, how cute.
So that made me think we had to go and generalize counting to go and actually find that 8s can belong everywhere, not just on our front door.
Yeah, right.
So playing with numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids do love numbers.
Yeah.
Play with the numbers. I actually did a workshop on playing with numbers. And that's what I call it, playing with numbers.
Yeah. So having numbers everywhere.
Yes, and what do they do? Number 5, what are the numbers hiding in number 5? And that's called part whole thinking.
Yep. Okay, so are there any other questions before we close for the night? It's been, my brain's like full.
Good.
It's been really, really helpful. We'll see if there's any other questions out there. Don't be shy. What do you think, Charlotte? What else? Oh, that
it did go very fast. Yes, it did. But no, that's been good. I think we covered everything. The only other question we didn't ask was what part does development of the child play in mathematical learning? And again, that comes back down to knowing your child. Learning maths doesn't happen in isolation. You've got to consider cognitive development, social development, emotional development, motor development.
Mm.
The support that you give will be different for each child. Challenge plus support equals learning. Challenge and no support is failure. No challenge and support is not learning. So we've actually got to provide them with opportunities and experiences that actually challenge their thinking. Don't make it easy for them. Let them make mistakes and stand back and let them make the mistakes. And that's really, really important. We learn a lot from making mistakes.
Someone has asked, can we get those sheets off your website? So basically, you pay you $30 for the year.
$30 for the year, and they can access everything on the website. On the front page, there's more problems, which are aimed at level 1, which again suit play-based learning. Yeah, for a year, for a school to subscribe, it's $275 and through the website. If the school subscribes, they also get 10% off on the online store.
Okay.
Okay, I can't do that for individual subscriptions. That are only for school ones.
$30 is very reasonable. I've subscribed for a couple of years now, so and I really appreciate you looking into the play-based learning for us and putting some links up there. That's wonderful. There's one question here which I really like. What could we set out to provoke our learners to lead to these pre-counting skills? And top of my head would be objects to count.
I would do it through sorting first.
Right.
Don't even try to count them.
Okay.
Sort them. Sort them, and sorting leads to quantifying.
Okay.
How many? Because numbers is what makes them interesting. We sort by appearance, but then when we ask questions about it, quantifying will come into it.
Okay.
And they need lots and lots of practice at counting. So yeah, definitely sorting, which comes under your statistics actually.
It does. So you could have like ice cream containers with different shapes on for them to put things into. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Like,
Give them a box of mixed objects to sort out. They decide how they're sorting them. So they might just sort them and you can't see how they've sorted them. But if they can give you a way that they've sorted them, and sometimes they can get quite creative in the way they sort them. They're looking for same and different.
Mm.
What's the same about all of these? And it might, the same might be that I like these and I don't like these.
True.
So don't assume that we only sort by what we see.
Mm.
So give the children the freedom to sort.
Mm. Mm.
They'll be far more creative. You might need to model for some.
Yep.
But don't limit it to shape and colour.
No. Mm.
Okay. Looks like people have enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Right.
it has been invaluable.
Great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, good. And yeah, if we want to know more, go to your website or
Yeah, you can go through the website. There's a contact form on the front page of the website. Just contact me. Just click on that. It'll come through to my email. I can answer any questions on there. I'm actually in the office every day this week except Thursday when I'm out in school. And any schools that are actually looking for professional development, the development of play-based learning with a focus on mathematics, I'm available for school-funded and centrally funded professional development.
wonderful. And on the Facebook page, the Learning Through Play Facebook page, we can have a discussion about different activities and different ideas following on from this as well, because I'm sure that there's many of you out there that'll be able to take some photos of some different provocations and different activities that you've set up for the children to use, and different resources as well. So yeah, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining us. It's been wonderful.
Okay, I'm just answering a question there. When you sign up to the website, yes, it's a year from when you sign. You get a reminder about 4 weeks before your subscription's due again. Somebody asked, does it go to the year? Yes, it does. It's per annum.
Yeah, the Facebook page is just search Learning Through Play, and it's a New Zealand Facebook page, one that I started a few years ago. Can I put the link up? I suppose I could. I can stay here for a bit longer. Just let me go and find it. And I'll put this up online so that you can have another listen to it. I sure will be, because there's a lot of information there.
Oh, she's found the Facebook page.
Oh, has she? You found it. Cool. Wonderful. Now I have to let you on. Great.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for organising it. It's been awesome. I've enjoyed talking to everybody, and it's great to see so many people actually taking the plunge and actually putting the children first.
Wonderful.
That's great.
We'll catch up with you another time.
Okay.
Bye.
That's wonderful. Bye-bye.